The latest on soon-to-be Francine, and what about any other weather across Texas this week? Let's talk about it in this Monday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, I'm Texas Storm Chasers Boldy and Chief David Reimer. It is Monday, the 9th of September, 2024. A beautiful start to the day across most of the state, unless you're down in the Rio Grande Valley, lower Texas Gulf Coast, where we're going to have some scattered showers and storms throughout the day into tonight, thanks to increasing moisture and an organizing tropical cyclone in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Let's just go ahead and get into it. That's going to be our main weather impact this week. And that's saying something because it's not going to impact probably 85% or more of Texas. The latest on potential tropical cyclone 6, as it is called, which for intensive purposes, it's going to be Francine later today. The only reason it's not Francine now is because it lacks a well-defined inner core. Once that is, established, you have a well-defined low pressure. Later today, they'll upgrade it to Francine. Maximum sustained winds about 40 to 50 miles an hour. There's some enhancement due to the mountainous terrain of Mexico, and we're seeing some higher gusts and thunderstorms, but the actual intensity of the circulation here that's developing is probably closer to 40 miles an hour. We're nitpicking over straws here, but right now, moving northwest at about 5 miles an hour. That motion is expected to continue today and tonight. You can see it's really not expected to move much over the next 12 to 18 hours. By 1 p.m. tomorrow, it's going to be probably near its closest point to the lower Texas Gulf Coast, and that could bring some tropical storm force wind gusts into the Rio Grande Valley, maybe a bit of heavy rain as well, depending on how well built the precipitation shield is on the western side of this tonight into tomorrow. There's definitely the potential for some heavier rain, gusty winds, maybe some minor coastal flooding. Now, compared to the track last night, we've seen the shift east, which for Texas is good. For our neighbors in Louisiana, not so much. We're expecting the system to begin turning northeast tomorrow afternoon. It's going to start accelerating slowly while likely intensifying into a hurricane by tomorrow night and Wednesday morning. By Wednesday morning, it will be sitting probably at least 150 miles, if not more, east of Corpus Christi, moving northeast, which would then take it towards southern Louisiana, a landfall sometime Wednesday afternoon. And it could be an intensifying hurricane at that point. Some data suggest it could be a rather formidable system by landfall, while other data not as aggressive. But the overall environment is expected to favor intensification, steady intensification tonight, perhaps a quickened pace of intensification as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday morning, and then wind shear, which is not what hurricanes like, unlike storms, our typical springtime severe storms. I won't go into the nitty-gritty meteorological details on why, but wind shear will be increasing near landfall on Wednesday afternoon, which may at least level out the intensification, if not stop it altogether. But by that point, we could have Category 1, maybe Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds between between 80 and maybe 100 miles an hour, which would bring quite a bit of a storm surge to Louisiana, strong winds, heavy rain, etc. On the current projected track, which we'll have to make sure this doesn't wobble back west, the impacts to the middle Texas Gulf Coast, the coastal bend, we're probably going to get some gusty winds, maybe up to 45, 50 miles an hour right along the immediate coast, maybe some scattered showers, brief heavy rain, and then as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, maybe some showers on the upper Texas Gulf Coast, southeast Texas, Golden Triangle, gusty winds, some minor coastal flooding from onshore flow. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But as the system, or by that point, the hurricane passes latitude-wise, at least north of your location, we're going to switch to an offshore flow, which may actually present a low water situation and may push water out of Galveston Bay to a point. In terms of storm surge, that is. So let's talk about forecast rain totals. This will be for the week, not only for the hurricane, but for Texas as a whole. As you can see, rain totals have been pushed east a bit thanks to that eastward shift. We're still expecting the potential for 2 to 5 inches of rain in the Rio Grande Valley today, tonight, into tomorrow. There could be some localized flooding with that. Rain totals have come down in the coastal bend, the coastal plains. We're looking at maybe 1/4 to 1.5 inches of rain. And then for southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, at this point, we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain, and that's a big maybe. If this thing doesn't have too much precipitation on the western side, it may honestly not even rain that much. So at this point, impacts in terms of heavy rain on the lower side of the risk spectrum. With the exception of the Rio Grande Valley, we're probably going to have some isolated flooding potential there. But in terms of damaging winds, tropical storm force wind gusts, 40, 50 mile an hour winds for the Rio Grande Valley perhaps, upper Texas Gulf Coast, maybe the Golden Triangle. At this point, this does not in any way, shape, or form look like a Burl situation again for Texas or southeast Texas in the wind department. We'll keep an eye on the coastal flooding potential just in case we do end up having some water getting pushed towards the coast. But again, those winds are going to flip around offshore as the system passes north of your latitude. It's going to push that water away from the coast. In terms of tornado risk, I can't completely rule out a waterspout issue, especially with some of the activity today in the Rio Grande Valley, tonight, maybe tomorrow. But at this point, it looks like it's also going to mostly be in Louisiana. So at this point, the impacts overall for Texas are looking minor, a glancing blow. But we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it for our neighbors out in Louisiana, where the impacts could be much more higher, much more high. Oh, good grief. I need coffee. Let me tell you, I need coffee. My grammar is not doing well. So again, this is probably going to be a big-time Louisiana issue versus a Texas issue. And as the track of the system moves inland, again, there might be a wee bit of rain in East Texas, but depending on how much precipitation is on the west side of the system, typically the cleaner side of the hurricane, it may not even be as much as we're showing here, honestly. So we'll give you updates later, but don't be surprised if these come down. Otherwise, besides the hurricane, it's really not going to do all that much in Texas this week weather-wise. It's going to be mostly dry through the work week. Here's the wildfire outlook from the Texas A&M Forest Service as we go through the week. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, the highest fire danger expected to be in the Panhandle, West Texas, as we continue to dry out, warm back up. Wednesday, we'll have to keep an eye on Northeast Texas, East Texas. If we don't get rain, might have some slight uptick in north winds, just, because the hurricane passing off to the east, that could locally enhance the wildfire risk. But otherwise, if we have scattered showers and storms, the risk for wildfires in Northeast Texas probably won't be as high as shown here on Wednesday. And again, otherwise, it's going to stay dry in Texas this week. Going out over the next few days, here is today's high temperature forecast. Warming back up, still highs, not bad at all. We're looking at mostly 80s to low 90s across the state. That's not bad, especially considering, we're used to summer still. We're going to warm back up more, though, as we get into Tuesday. 80s on the immediate Texas Gulf Coast. We're looking at mid to upper 80s to lower 90s. With the exception of parts of the Edwards Plateau, South Texas, and the Panhandle, we could begin back up closer to 93 to 95 as we go into Wednesday, depending on the amount of precipitation and cloud debris from the hurricane passing to the east in Louisiana. Highs may only stay in the upper 70s to low 80s with a chance for rain in the eastern, 10% of Texas. Otherwise, we're looking at 80s and 90s. Thursday, same story. And then as we get into Friday, highs across Texas warming up. We're getting back into the low to mid 90s statewide. Some folks getting closer to 96, 97. And then as we get into Saturday, this is probably, hopefully, going to be the warmest we get as we head into the next week. We could be looking at some near triple-digit temperatures, upper 90s in northwest Texas, the Panhandle, mostly looking at low to middle 90s across the state as we head into this weekend. We'll see if we have any sort of rain chances coming in, but at this point it does not look promising. So again, we'll keep an eye on what is soon to become our tropical storm in the Gulf. That'll become a hurricane as it moves to the northeast on Tuesday, providing a glancing blow to the Texas Gulf Coast with the chance for some rain, gusty winds, some minor coastal flooding, rough surf and dangerous rip currents, that's for sure, and then increasing impacts with the potential of a hurricane impact in Louisiana by Wednesday. We'll have storm chasers heading out there, it looks like, and we'll keep a close eye on our forecast as well. There is some chance this tries to shift back west, which would increase our impacts to the Texas Gulf Coast, especially in southeast Texas and the Golden Triangle. But at this point, trends have been to the east, which is good for Texas, but not good for our neighbors to the east. We'll have updates throughout the day. We'll be doing another one of these videos later this afternoon and this evening, that's for sure. So check back for that. And as always, you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, live severe weather coverage when necessary, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device, and we'll be posting frequent updates all day on the social media networks we participate on, which is Facebook, X, YouTube, Threads, you know, the usual. So we'll be keeping an eye on things. Y'all have a great Monday. Thanks for tuning in this morning. God bless.